glad you done it. You didn't lose your mind. Just be careful.
Thank you. That's all distinction. That helped.
And of course, the whole time, just when you got there, we've also got partners that have gotten so this coming weekend, now he's behind us.
I can hear that one.
It don't matter, honestly. I mean, if you want to like talk to Robert about it, and just let him know I've got the picture.
I'd like to. It's good to have good fellowship in the room, and thank y'all. Like after church. Sort of like at church, yeah. Next on the agenda is comment from our elected officials or appointed officials that are in attendance with us. And I think I'll just start back in the back. Judge, do you have anything you want to bring?
Not right now.
Okay.
Yeah, I'd love
Mr.
to
Patterson?
say, please. It's been a long day. Taxes are not nobody's favorite
No.
topic.
No.
But we have closed out, I've told you last time, 2022. We're doing the abstract today on 2023 to look at all the numbers. So in the next meeting we have with y'all, I'm going to go through all what we're going to collect and what the changes from last year to this year are. And I'm going to get with the paper as well and Blaine on the radio station where all the citizens of Covenant County will know where we're at on 2023 property taxes to be collected.
All right. Any questions for Chuck while he's at the
Questions?
podium? Commissioners? Anybody? All right. Thank you, Chuck, for being
Thank
with us
y'all.
today. Yes, sir. I hope you'll stay with us till 2 o'clock when we finish.
Yes, sir.
All right. Sheriff, do you have anything at this time?
Not at this time, just.
All right. We'll recognize you a little later. All right. All right. Thank all of you for being with us. Commissioners, the consent agenda was in your packet, emailed to you prior to the meeting. It included the minutes for the July 11th meeting and also the accounts payable and payroll for the month of July. I'll ask if there are any corrections that you noted, or is there a motion to approve?
I make a motion to approve.
Motion and a second, Kenneth. Lynn will be back in a minute. We could hold, but let's just vote, and we'll let her add her vote to it if that's okay. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, same sign. All right. I think she'll agree to that motion. Well, come on in, Lynn. We just approved the consent agenda. Are you okay with an aye on that? You vote in favor?
Consent for what?
The consent agenda, the items in the
yes,
consent,
yes,
okay.
yes.
So we got passed unanimously. Under old business, we want to consider board appointments for Personnel Review Board. Karen, if you would tell us where we are on that, please.
The current, the employees representative, we're going to be sending the ballots out for that, so that will come later. This is for the other member that's open. The term will expire, actually expired July 15th, so we're needing to fill that position. It's a 4-year term, and we have one person that had reached out after seeing it in the newspaper and was showing interest. That's Miss Diane Bauer.
Diane Bauer, a Boyer, is a retired state employee. She worked for a number of years with mental health. She was executive director at the local mental health board, and then went to Montgomery, continued to live here, but commuted back and forth, and she served as the assistant director for the State Department of Mental Health. And so she has a great deal of experience, certainly a lot of experience dealing with them personnel, and she'd make a great member, and I certainly encourage us to consider her strongly. We'll open the floor for any other thoughts that you may have. Do you have a name to submit?
No, and I would definitely support anyone who's interested in serving on something that's, pretty much a volunteer. And
Okay.
I think she'd be an excellent person. She was born and raised, you may have said that right here in Andalusia. Lived out there in that Clearview community back out on, no,
Off 29.
no, 84. Not Clearview up there. What was Clearview here in Andalusia?
Excuse me.
Okay.
Yeah, you're not old enough to know.
All right. So we have that name to consider. Any others? If not, is there a motion to appoint Diane Boyer to fill this seat.
I make a motion.
There's a motion and a second by Michael. Anything else? Any questions, comments? All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, same sign. All right, that is approved. Thank her for being willing to serve, and thank y'all for considering that. So that's the last of those slots for a while,
Well, we'll have the
except for the employee
right.
rep. Okay, and we'll be in a position to announce that at the next meeting. Consider a request from Op City Schools. It's a funding request. Page 35 is the information. Kenneth, that's in your area. And just to set the stage for this, several months ago, we provided a little bit of financial support, just to show support, community support, to one of the Andalusia teams. I think it was a football team. My understanding is, as they go through the playoff system, they don't share in the gate. The state association gets all that. And so if you get further and further in the system, into the playoffs, it costs you more and more because you've consumed your funding that you accumulated. And so there's a lot of expense. So we helped the Andalusia football team. Then we helped at least one of the county teams, Florella, I think, with some expenses they had incurred with sending kids to a higher level of playoffs. And Kenneth, there was a request from Op City to consider. They had several teams that made trips to nationals, and that was the cheerleaders, and they had other teams that were very successful. And so thoughts on this funding request?
Didn't we use contingency fund money for those other teams?
I think
Each commissioner donated a portion.
I think we used some discretionary funds that we had. We could do it out of contingency or discretionary funds. Some of us have no discretionary funds left.
Okay.
So I'd love to participate, but I can't if we use it. But
You spent all
I certainly
yours?
support it. Yes, ma'am, I did. On behalf of the commission. Okay.
I'm in the same boat as Greg. I know it was done on the discretionary funds, but, you know, I've done the Andalusia and the Flow Run and everything, and
And we did
that's-
too. We did too.
Yeah, yeah.
Are you broke too?
No, I'm not broke, but we
Okay.
did participate also.
Yeah,
It
we
made it
did.
sound like that they were the only ones that.
No, I'm saying because
didn't,
Andalusia
yeah.
was like in my district at the time, and
Kenneth,
or still is.
that's op schools in your district. You have thoughts on
So
that?
should it come from that same money? Is that where we're going with this? Is that what we're asking?
It can come from wherever, contingency or
She's talking
discretionary.
about the funding, where it would come from.
Yeah.
Discretionary or contingency.
Kenneth's got some left.
Yeah.
Yeah. I'm saying,
Speak yet.
I did too.
I understand that, you
No,
know, a lot of cheerleader, the different ones has went and done a lot, and we have the team up there now with the Babe Ruth All-Stars at the World Series. that
But that's
Nolan had
coming up
asked us
next.
for money, and,
Too.
like on the one
Yeah.
they up there now, we could not, and I was just talking to Jason, we can't give money till we meet in this group.
Right.
And we can't do nothing outside of the,
City schools.
till we hear.
Correct.
And, I would, you know, on the past, you know, I don't know. I see where we could need to do something, but then usually we like for the request to come before they do it, or as it's being done, not after it was done.
Correct.
So that's the only thing I was concerned a little bit about, you know, because it had done been done and paid, then now they ask for funding. But this, you know, where they're at now, they had submitted money asking for a request a couple of weeks ago for the World Series. And they had, you know, they're out doing stuff, you know, they're doing everything they can to create money. And, you know, like I say, the cheerleaders, you know, I've helped them, you know, I'm the go-to guy, because they know I'm gonna buy anything that they're doing. And, so I do that out of my own, but still, if we wanna do something for the city in the past, I could see a minimum of something, but not of, you know.
So let me mention what we have done. I believe I'm right. So either 1,500 or 2,000 has been the amount we've given in those previous instances. And another thing I know we've had conversation about is establishing criteria so that if we get requests in the future, it either meets this established criteria or not. And we don't, and that way we're treating everybody exactly the same. So I think we need to do that going forward, not today, but at a meeting, we don't have such a long agenda, we can discuss that. And maybe some of you come with a proposal for that. But it'd be, you know, if we wanted to contribute to the Op City schools, and I think the other funding request, Kenneth, which you probably bring up later in the meeting, but we can discuss it now, for the Babe Ruth team that's traveling for World Series. There'd be an appropriate time to cover that as well. That's outside of the city schools, the Board of Education, that's a rec team. And we could fund one of them out of contingency if the two of you with contingency funds, or discretionary funds want to do that. And then we could fund the other one out of the contingency, so you want to consider.
I think $2,000 is way too much for what they're asking for the city schools. Karen, can you tell us right off how much tax money goes to the city schools and all, just on the
No,
Monthly.
it's a large,
amount?
yes, all the schools get, majority of the sales tax collections goes to the schools.
The half-cent sales tax plus the regular sales
That's right.
tax. Now, I think that's too much for that event. I think $500 would be a gracious plenty.
Like I said, I'm willing
$250
to
would
do
be a gracious
something,
plenty. It's past the event.
but it's been, yeah.
So is that a motion that you're
No,
making?
I'm
Oh, just a
Giving my
suggestion.
opinion.
Let's get a motion in a second, and then we can debate and discuss it further.
Y'all know where the 1,400 All-Stars are going in the World Series?
Kenneth
New
May,
York.
New York.
Young Blood, New York.
That's right.
This
Okay.
is, we're talking about city school right now, right?
Yeah, we're talking about that.
Yeah, they there now. They left.
Um,
I'm like Lynn, I'd like to do something, but like I said, this was his conversation, well, y'all, I seen where y'all had done this, and so we would like something. And this needs to be more in line of when you have something coming up, and let us get in, I'm willing to do something, but I don't think a lot,
The Op Recreation allows county kids that go to Fleta and other schools to come in and play. So it's not just City of Op. What about taking a $2,000 contribution and putting $1,500 to the Babe Ruth, the All-Stars that are traveling now, and $500 to the Op City schools? Since you mentioned the 500, would that be reasonable, in line with what
Yeah.
you're thinking?
I'll do that. I'll do the 5 to the city lot and 15 to the Babe Ruth.
All right. Do you have some funds you're gonna put with that or
I
not?
don't.
You don't? Okay, I thought you had funds left, but you're not gonna put them with that, okay?
But they're
Just
going to
making sure.
District 3.
I got it, okay. All
And
right.
then how much funds do I have left?
Right now, you currently have $1,500.
There you go.
So you'll make, the donation is $1,500 to rec and then $500 from the contingency fund to Board of Education. All right, that's a motion. Is there a second?
I second, I ain't got any funds left.
Yes, one spent his
I
money.
mean, I'll be
Yes.
willing to take some of my, some funds out of, if I need to, out of my,
Yep.
you want to do
Where-
it out of the
Discretionary
budget.
fund.
How did we come up with the 2,000? Was that mentioned? Did Michael
I
feel
think-
like that would be appropriate, or
No,
how
he
did that
didn't
come
mention
about?
that. I think that was just what we did previously with the Florella situation and also with the
Careful,
Andalusia
Oh.
situation.
I think we
15
did.
or 2,000?
I think we did 1,500 for Florilla.
Yeah.
Okay.
And then,
Two-
I think we ended up with 2,500 for Andalusia.
2,500, okay. It was in that ballpark, so. All right, we have a motion and a second. Any other questions?
Right now. So that's
So,
gonna be,
so you're wiping out your 1,500 going to the youth sports?
Yes.
no,
500
You only
from,
have $1,500 total left in your discretionary. So what, are you putting any of that towards,
yeah, that's what I was gonna say. If we're gonna, we need to get this straight, because you said something about taking out of the
contingency?
contingency fund.
500.
That's
500 out. And
For
then
the city
15
schools.
for the city schools.
1,500 could be from your discretionary. You could get land split with you.
Told you.
No, I mean, I'd rather, I thought I was gonna take some out of mine to
Okay.
go with
How
that.
much do you want to propose?
I'll do
You're driving.
I'll do 750.
Okay, 750, then that means that the remainder of the total would have to come out of the discretionary, and that's fine with me.
Okay, so 500 for Op City and 750 for Op Youth out of contingency, and then 750 out
of his
of.
discretion, okay. All right, so we have the motion, and Michael, you give that as a second? Okay. Any other questions on that? All right, we'll vote. All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, the same sign. It was unanimous. Every time he voted, it was unanimous in favor of the motion, so we'll call that done. All right, thank you. Going to new business, consider funding requests for, no, we just did that, Op Youth Sports, so that's taken care of. Consider location change for voting places for Babby and Red Level. Judge, you want to address those?
Right now, in Red Level, we use the volunteer fire department as our voting place. We're not talking about changing precincts or anything, just the actual physical voting place. They have a community center that's just right next door, across the street next door from the volunteer fire department. When the voters have to go to the volunteer fire department, it's climbing a pretty steep hill to get into the door. So we just thought that it would make it easier and more accommodating to the voters if we started using the community center. I talked with the mayor and talked with some of the council members there in Red Level, and they've passed a resolution agreeing to allow us to use the community center. There's paved parking. It's easier to get in and out, so I'm just asking that the voting place be moved from the volunteer fire department to the Red Level Community Center.
Okay, why don't we vote on that standalone? You've heard the request, and you've heard that she's done the homework related to it. Is there a motion to
We
approve
just put
the
out
changing?
public
I will
information
put-
to let everybody know
yes.
where it's okay.
I will put it in the newspaper probably now, and then I'll do something, the primary is in March. So
Right.
we'll do something closer to the primary just to remind people. And then we'll also put some signs at the old voting place with an arrow just to go next door.
I make a motion. We grant that?
Is there a second?
Second.
All right, motion and second. Now, any other questions, comments on that? I assume you all want to support it. We'll vote. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, same sign. That carries. All right,
Thank you.
what's the other one?
Babby. Right now, we vote at the Babby Volunteer Fire Department. Parking is an issue there because a lot of the parking is in front of where the fire trucks are. So I talked with the mayor in Babby, and they are agreeable to allowing us to use the town hall. They were paving the parking lot at the town hall. It's a larger building. It will be easier for people to get in and out. And so the Babby mayor and city council also passed a resolution agreeing to allow us to use Babby Town Hall.
How far is the town hall from the fire department? Because town hall's up
It's,
back close to
it's
84.
off, the little cut-through
Yeah,
road where you would turn to go to the church. I'm not sure the distance, but again, we would put up
Yeah,
signs.
that'd
It's
be
still
one that
in-
would really
Yes.
have to have some signage and
Yes.
some,
And we'd put notice in the newspaper, and, I'll make sure the radio stations know so that everybody could be told. It's just will be easier with parking, and it's a larger parking lot, more space. And when they do municipal elections in Babby, they use the town hall. I don't know that they've had a municipal election there in many years, but that's their plan, is they
just try to
use
get
town hall.
somebody.
Yeah.
So,
But it was done, I think it was moved from there on account of safety issues, because 84 was right there, and it was a lot of traffic. So now that traffic's been diverted over to the 4 lanes, so it's become back a lot safer for everybody to get in and out, so, I'm good with it, too.
So is that a motion?
Yeah, I'll make a motion.
motion to make the change. Is there a second?
second.
Questions for the judge on that? Okay, all in favor, say aye.
Thank you.
Opposed, same sign. Carried. Thank you.
I think I
I'm-
have the next one, too.
Okay, I'm just glad that we have the authority to make a change like that for the good of our voters. A few years ago, we couldn't do that without federal approval, so I'm glad that's
I think
gotten
this
better.
will be better for especially at Red Level. It's hard for me to climb that hill, so
Yeah,
I
so
can imagine.
So the next item is consider a memorandum of understanding for e-recording. What do you have?
Last year, we entered into a memorandum of understanding with Simplify. And what it is, it's a company that allows us to do e-recording of mortgage doc and deeds. And the companies email everything in. My clerk goes through everything. They calculate the fees and do everything, and then we just record it, and it's sent back electronically. CSC is just like Simplify. They work with Ingenuity, which is our vendor who handles all of our tagline stuff and our recording documents and our court documents. And it makes it a lot easier for customers that are, say, in California or a different state. They can send everything in electronically. We can record it and send it back electronically. Saves on postage, saves on time. So this is similar to what we did with Simplify.
Okay. It's not replacing something.
It's just another company
Okay.
that has,
Anything-
the customers use different companies.
Anything we can do to advance ourselves toward
My clerks
technology
really
is
like
good.
it.
Sure.
They like the e-recording. You don't get the big stacks of mail in. You don't have to mail out big envelopes full of documents. It saves on postage. It's just easier.
So Commissioners, you've heard the request. What are your, is there a motion to
Is there a cost for the
approve? this
county?
No
interview?
cost.
Okay, that's because I was trying to look and I didn't
Yeah,
see anything.
there's no cost, and we don't pay Simplify. They work with Ingenuity, who handles all of our data.
If it makes things better, no cost nothing,
That sounds like a motion.
I make a motion.
Is there a second?
Second.
Questions? Other comments? All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, same sign. Carried. Okay.
Thank y'all.
Thank you, Judge. Appreciate you being here. Next item, Commissioners, is item D. Is consider an application for retail liquor license. And I don't know, is the new location in your district? Oh, it's in yours, Mike?
It's in mine. It's actually going from Hilltop to the Pop Place on 84. It's just, I guess are just changing really locations from where they was at Hilltop, just moving their business to out on 84 Pop Place. They've
Same
never
owner?
had- They've never had any issues up
Yes.
there, so I recommend make a motion with grant basically the change of address.
It's a
Yeah, I reckon
restaurant
they will have
retail
a
liquor for the new location.
Different name too, but it's the same person who owns Hilltop.
All right, so I heard a motion to grant that license
I'll second.
or approve it. I don't know that we actually grant it. ABC does, but we approve it at our level. So there's a motion and second. Questions on this? Anybody here to speak on that topic?
It's
It's
just
not
takes a
appropriate.
step out from getting their process done.
Yeah,
If
okay.
there's anything, they can still get it done even without us, but still, it just takes a step out, and makes it easier.
It's one of those things that the legislature did grant us the authority to step into, didn't it? Not very many things, but, all right. We have a motion and second. If there's nothing else, all in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, same sign. All right, that's approved. Karen will present to us the request for Alabama Department of Youth Services Detention Center contract, I suppose it is.
This is our annual contract where we have to specify which detention center that we would like to choose for our funds to be distributed to. We have, the state basically provides a bed for one juvenile at a certain location. This is where we pick that. So we have Southeast Alabama Youth Services Diversion Center in Dothan. We've used them many years now and don't know of any problems arising from any of that. Spoke with David Pierce earlier, and he recommended us continuing the same contract.
Sheriff, I know that impacts your department. Is there anything on this you want to address, or is that okay? I suppose it's as close as any other diversion center, probably closer than any
And we
other.
already know where it is.
You can like to look hard. All right, so there's,
The only quick question I got, what's the difference between that one and the one in Luverne? Is there a difference in them? Because I know Luverne has
Laverne is more for, mental.
Psychiatry.
Mental illness.
Okay.
How long do these young people normally have to stay there? Is it a permanent fix, or is it,
Well, some
Some
stay
do
there
and
quite
some
a
don't.
time.
Some, this is like it's more like a stopping point, depending on what kind of struggle they've got into, they can be moved somewhere else. But, our county jail doesn't have the facilities to hold juveniles, and, this is our best option.
what's the name of this facility?
It's the Southeast Alabama.
That's its actual name, like it's not called something else,
Diversion
okay?
center. They
And
refer
does
to it as
this place
diversion center.
provide education while they're there too? Do you
No,
know?
that I'm not sure of. Have you ever-
You don't know?
Depending on how long they're there,
I know the state's required to do that,
The
so I
department-
didn't know if this one was one
Department of
that
Youth
does that or
Services is
not.
who,
This is just one bed, right? This is, I mean, if it's more, we'd have to pay.
We pay the difference. If
pay
we
the
get a bill
difference.
each
We
month.
get one
Yeah.
bed out of this.
I saw that on the budget, yeah.
Yes.
It's pretty expensive.
Sometimes it can. Some years it's not very much. Other times you get a certain, I guess, a troubled youth that costs a lot more. So it's just according to what's going on.
any other questions?
We need a motion. I'll make a motion.
There's a motion. Do I have a second?
Yes.
Second. More questions? More comments? All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, same sign. All right. That's done. Thank you. Next is consider proposal for a grant. And I think that was related to a proposal to apply for contract for engineering services. we have limited inventory across the county for industrial sites. You know, the city of Andalusia has an industrial park, Cobb has an industrial park, but those are filling up, and we need additional sites. There are, from time to time, there are larger projects that come looking. I don't know how much actual opportunity we have in those, but if you don't have a place, you have zero opportunity, guaranteed not to get them. So there has been property identified by our economic development team, and conversation held with the owner of that property, and they've expressed willingness to work with economic development folks on as the need arises. Part of the problem in selling a site to an industry is whether you have the infrastructure in place, water, sewer, and so forth. As the group was talking earlier, concerned about the roads, concerned about the water, and all of those are issues that have to be considered. There is an opportunity, I think, right now that we've never had before, because there are a lot of COVID funds at the state level that the feds identified as specifically for water, sewer, and broadband. Water, sewer, broadband. So the state has a boatload of money that the feds have sent down, and there's opportunity to apply for that funding. So if we're going to improve infrastructure to industrial sites, this is as good of an opportunity as we'll have. So the first step in that, seems to me, is to retain the services of an engineering firm, and the proposal is CDG. The reason for that is because what we're looking at is the possibility of tying on a line to an existing City of Andalusia line. The site is in the River Falls area. The mayor was here earlier. We've had conversation with her, and she is fully on board and supportive. So this would require a line somehow to move from the end of the Andalusia service line across the river, whether you cross it hanging on a bridge or hanging on a train trestle, or you bore under the river, whatever. We don't know what those best options are. So what's being proposed is for CDG Engineering to give us a preliminary assessment of what our best option is, what the estimate of cost might be, and then the next step would be for us or some other entity to pursue federal funding that's available right now. And this is a proposal that requires a $9,100 commitment. I would recommend that we fund that through our ARPA funds, if that's appropriate or possible to do. If not, then out of our discretionary funds, and enter this contract with CDG.
Does the Economic Development Board, of course, they'd be involved. Do they have money in their budget?
I would say not for this, and the reason I would say that is because typically the development is on the entity that, so if they're doing something in it, they're more of a support team. Their budget is for marketing more so than the actual infrastructure development. Andalusia does the development, OB does the development, Florella, Covington County on occasion. So it typically is on the local government to do those infrastructure projects. And again, this may be something we choose not to do ultimately, but this $9,100 investment will get us into the conversation.
As an economic development meeting to discuss exactly what could be going on.
Absolutely.
What do you want to know? And let me see if I can answer it. I may not be able to, but let me try.
Oh, Lynn, sit back.
Yeah, I want to hear, because I certainly don't know either. Who is the development team or the group that you're referring to? Who are the people that are in that? Because I know we're not.
Well, you know, that's fine. I've shared in text and emails with all of you prior to today. This isn't new. That I had met with CDG. Prior to that, I'd had conversations with Rick Clifton and also with Morgan. What's his name? Jacob Morgan. I'm sorry, I drew a blank.
And that's also with
CCEDC.
Yeah, he's Rick Clifton's understudy.
That's correct. So we had conversations over the months. Ms. Patricia Gunner, I've had conversations with her. She's involved in CCEDC, who again is the support.
Is she in a meeting with these people?
No,
No.
she met later. So, but we brought her up to speed on it afterwards. The commission has trouble going as a group to every meeting that's held. I represent the commission on any number of economic development efforts, just like all of you do. I know, Michael, for instance, you've had meetings with individuals from the Oak Ridge community, one-on-one. I've had meetings with one-on-one with those folks. Lynn, you had a gentleman that was here earlier today with a concern about bridge on his road. So, I mean, there are things that we all do. It doesn't mean we go with authority to act on behalf of the commission, but I'm bringing this back as a request following the meeting that I had. We asked to meet with CDG because they're the engineering firm for the sewer system in Andalusia. And we felt like they would be able to give us the best understanding of what our options are. And this is a result of that meeting.
Where's the property out on?
You know, I really don't want to get into specifics. You know where the property is?
No, I don't. But that's why I said, that's why I wanted
it's
to
a-
do it in a meeting where we can have economic development
Okay.
discussion.
Well, if they'll bring this study, if they'll bring this $9,100 study, then that would give us answers to all that information. So, because when you're talking about economic development, you're talking about obtaining options on property. You're talking about obtaining easements and rights of way. I don't know where those are. Nobody really knows that, but that's what this preliminary study of $9,100 would
But you would know where
accomplish.
the general property is that you're wanting to propose as industrial site.
Right.
And I don't want to, I don't know.
that
I
wasn't-
don't think it needs to be brought out, but I
That wasn't
think that we
mentioned
need to
in
know.
an email or text to you that said it crossed the river directly from an industrial site by name?
That
I think it
don't mean
was.
nothing to me.
Okay.
I didn't look at it on the map.
Okay.
But I think as a commission, we need to meet and have a discussion about it.
Okay.
Really and truthfully, that way we
That's-
can kind of all be up to
We,
what's going on.
we can do that if you want to make a motion to move forward, or if you want to make a motion, there's no motion on the table, so it can die for lack of a motion. But if you want to make a motion that we table the discussion of this to another meeting, we certainly can do that. I'll tell you the problem that I have with all of this is, previously we had conversations with this same landowner, this 3 or 4 years ago. And I know that he was approached by somebody that was in the know and discouraged from moving forward with it. So there's a reason that economic development projects are kept close to the vest. It's
Well,
not
I
that
think we'd be pretty close, we're the commission.
well, that's where the problem came before.
Well,
Just
I
so you
wasn't
know,
there.
I get that. I'm not pointing fingers at anybody.
just don't
But I
like
just
the
want us to be
idea.
discreet with it.
And everything seems to be secret. And I don't understand why this meeting took place, and then when it afterwards, we weren't called back, and all of us sat down together, and someone said, okay, this is what's going on. We really don't want it publicly known because of what you just said, but wouldn't that have been the best way?
Well, I did share that in an email with y'all, man.
Last Friday, I believe, but that was
That's right.
after all the meetings had already
Well, there was one
obviously
meeting.
taken place.
Yeah, one meeting, plus I talked
You
to
know,
them
that's
about it.
like the solar farm. Had someone have known that prior, we might not be where we are now, but we didn't know it, or they didn't know it. I wasn't on the commission then,
You had no authority before, any different than you do now.
but just knowing,
Yeah, just knowing. but
just
it
knowing.
Doesn't change your authority.
Somebody knew. Guys, somebody knew. It didn't drop out of the air. And that's what I'm saying about this. Rather than have to go through this struggle with anything, why don't we just come to the commission? This is what it is. We'd like to keep it here in these chambers and let that be it.
Okay.
We just need to know.
Other thoughts?
I would just make a motion that we have a economic development meeting amongst ourselves to
Okay.
kind of get caught up, because we had had discussion. I had a different, not relating to any of the stuff that we're talking about there, but I had talked with somebody from an entity
Mhm.
that had a fix to a solution, and this, that, and the other. And that way we can talk about everything we know.
We can do that. Okay.
Just a simple,
The-
quick,
Yeah, that's fine. So you made a motion to table the discussion or decision-making on this for a future meeting, with the idea that we'll have an economic development conversation, which I think we can have off record. for economic development purposes.
Yes, ma'am.
So, maybe we'll have that today, as we finish up this meeting. But I think all the information you're gonna learn, you already know. I mean, it's not, the commission wants to be in the lead. This is the chance for us to be in the lead on an economic development project. Whether we choose to stay in the lead or not is up to us.
Right.
But this is the first step, which somebody has to move forward with. So,
And like
we
you
want
said,
what we
it's gonna
want
be-
until we don't want it, and then it's
And
just
it's
kind of
gonna
hard
be
to
out in the
manage that.
fall, so I would, the mayor out there, I know you said she's on board,
She is.
so.
She expressed that again a while ago to a couple of commissioners, so. Okay, is there a motion? Did you second that? His
Oh,
motion?
I will.
I didn't, I thought you may have already, I'm sorry. So the motion to delay discussion on this or any action on this till a later meeting. Any other comments or questions on it?
And we can have on the next agenda, or next meeting. It ain't but 2 weeks.
No, it's 4
No,
weeks.
it'll be September.
Yeah, so.
You going to that meeting? I ain't going to clean your
Me
meeting.
either.
We just have our.
All right, we have a motion and a second. Anything else before we vote? All in favor, say aye. Opposed, same sign. All right, that'll be carried to the next meeting. It'll be under old business. All right. The next item on the agenda is consider change to workforce classification. Ms. Karen?
Yes, I've got two different issues I'd like all of you to consider. Both of the departments or positions are in my department. I have a 25-year employee that's retiring this fall, and I'd like to have permission to hire someone to work with her remaining months so that they can kind of learn the ropes of how things are done. That's the first position. And the second one is right now I have a receptionist position that's part-time. And I know at one time y'all had mentioned to change the way we entered this building to have it more secure, and that would be an opportunity if y'all wanted to do that. It'd be perfect time for us to change that position to a security clerk, if y'all choose to do that. So I just wanted to put that out and let you all decide how y'all want to go forward on those.
You recommend both of those?
I do.
Okay, so there's a recommendation from the administrator. What are your thoughts, Commissioner?
I know we had, me and Karen talked one this morning about having the one that's going to, from my understanding, maybe retire. Definitely needs somebody in that office to learn that position.
Somebody gotta get paid.
That's right.
If we can't talk that person out of it.
Yes, we would love to.
And I know I spoke to the sheriff here a while back about the security issues, and I think that's an excellent idea to have someone at the front.
All right, so is there a motion
Will
to
that
change these
position fall up
classifications?
under the sheriff department or just a regular?
We use that position to do errands for our office as well, so there would be other duties that would need to be included instead of just being the standard security clerk. But however y'all wish for that to be
The
handled.
request, I
It'll still be
think,
part-time.
Well, that's up to
full-
y'all if y'all would like to change that to
I think her
full-time.
recommendation is still full-time. I think the recommendation also is that they just be identified as security clerk, not a sheriff's position, but a person who is responsible for monitoring traffic and raising concerns. That's what I understand the proposal to be.
So if we're putting in a security clerk, if we do that, and then you said they also run errands, then we lose our security while that person is running
Well,
errands.
that's, right now we have two doors, so one person can't monitor both, so.
Right,
they
but we
would
were
be able
talking
to-
about,
Just trying
So
to
if-
make a step.
It's
in
according to
the
how
right
do
direction.
y'all wish to proceed with that. We can close the side door and have it all entrance through that area.
Then-
That person's gonna get sick one day, that person's gonna have, there's gonna be other things that arise.
then would that also include a monitoring system like we have at the courthouse? If we're gonna,
Susan has, equipment that we had purchased before that was, metal detectors, not the screening type
Right,
thing.
I'd have to check to see what Susan has got, but she had purchased some for
Right, she,
you.
so I know that part. It's according to how far y'all want to take
I
this.
think all of that, the decisions that you're asking about now haven't been made. I think that's for future discussion, but she's just trying to move forward with personnel. And then look at
Before I hire someone just to do receptionist duties, I just need to know if y'all wanted to
so
change.
do we need to make a
direction.
motion
We do.
on security clerk, or make a motion just on hiring for that position?
Well,
What's the
you would have to
motion?
change that from a part-time to a full-time, and then which direction, if y'all want to be classed as a receptionist or versus the security clerk is a different classification. So I'd have to change that workforce classification for that position.
And her recommendation is security clerk,
And full-time?
full-time.
I make a motion that we have a security clerk full-time.
And also allow for the person to step in to learn the role of the other position that she mentioned. All right, that's the motion. Is there a second?
That's it.
All
Second.
right, motion and second.
Question?
Michael? Yes, sir.
We need a website, we've got one, a county website, but I'm fixing to really have to access that website through a new type of tax sale. So Marsh at one time helped me, the guy that sits up front helped me with a website. I'd just like y'all to consider somebody that we can go to make sure our webpage.
As I told you the other day on the phone, Sonia in our office is going to take on those additional duties, so she would be there every day.
Make sure we got somebody to help me.
All right. We have a motion and a second. Sheriff?
I just have a question.
Sure.
The position as the security officer, security clerk, is that a full-time or a part-time position?
It's full-time, but now it's under the administrator, not sheriff's department, at least at the moment, and then we'll have to look at what that looks like going forward.
I was just
Yeah.
making sure, because
Yeah.
a part-time position, we're up here 40 hours plus a week, so I was just.
Yeah.
just wondering.
Full-time. All right, any other questions? If not, let's vote. All in favor, say aye. Opposed, same sign. All right, that carries. We have consider funding for Sheriff's Department training. You're on.
Right?
A request for patrol deputies.
Did I miss that?
Yeah, H.
And also request for patrol deputies. We'll come to you later. I just skipped it. Sorry. I got ahead of myself on my checks.
Training, okay.
Yes, sir.
Good morning. Normally when I come up here, I address you guys to bring money forth to the county with federal monies or either ADECA monies or whatnot. But this will be the first time that I've ever addressed you guys in a little issue with some finances that I need. But basically, first of all, I'm going to tell you what I'm here for today. We have 2 new deputies that we have hired. We hired them around the first week of July. They come to us uncertified, both of them. We did interview several applicants, and we really tried. I'm sorry, go
Eric,
ahead.
hold on. Eric, will you turn that just a little bit so we can see it from here? Just a little bit. I don't want to keep them from seeing. That's good, thanks. Go ahead.
We really hoped and prayed that we could get some people that were already certified, and we did interview several that were certified, and we did interview 2 that were uncertified. Out of the ones that were certified, we did we held a board on them, and the best 2 applicants that we had openings for were both uncertified. Unfortunately, we couldn't use any of the certified because they had passed that were not conducive to what we consider good deputies. People that can stand up and say that they're the best of the best. So we got 2 that we really thought that were great, and we hired them. The only problem is that when we hired them, I pulled the A-post schedule, and all the scheduled A-post academies had about the same start date. So I had to actually, I had to get them into an academy quick, because this is all the academies that are in the state of Alabama that are open, and there were several of them at that time, but we had to choose one and go ahead and go with it. So we went with Dothan. Dothan has started a new academy. They actually started about 4 months ago, and they just graduated their first graduating class. But we want to send these guys to Dothan. Their class starts on August the 21st, which is not far away. But basically, for them to start that academy, they have to have a check in hand for tuition tuition. Actually, it's a one-stop shopping. They enhance tuition, uniforms that they'll have to have for PT gear, ammunition, and 2 meals a day, breakfast and lunch. They're on their own for supper. Actually, we will pay for their supper, but they are on their own for supper. So they will not include that in that. But they also do not include lodging, so that's our responsibility as well. Now, lodging, that is not a problem for us. We've got monies for meals and for lodging. So we do have that on a line item. However, our line item for training has been depleted. What we're needing for training or for the tuition is $3,100 for each applicant. That's a total of $6,200. So basically, like I said, we do have enough to pay for the lodging, but then we're short on that. Unfortunately, I wish that we could have had another academy that we could have sent them to. We did have one in Montgomery that we possibly could have, but you know, if I did that, I would not have a backup. So that's why we wanted to go ahead and get with Dothan. And not only that, Dothan is really giving them a great deal. Guys, we're paying for their lodging. We're actually paying less than $30 a night for each guy to spend the night in a hotel. And we're talking about a Marriott, so hey, I would love to be able to stay in a Marriott for $29 a night. But anyway, basically they do give that deal. They do give the all-inclusive, which is $3,100 for ammo and everything. So it's a really good deal. But I would really like to get these guys in the academy. They have to have a check in hand by August the 21st. So it is kind of
How long does the
expedited.
training last?
14 weeks. It'll start August the 21st and will end on November the 22nd.
So 5 days a week during the training? Is it 5 days a week for training?
I believe it's going to be 4 days a week, Monday through Thursday. There will be some times when they have to stay over, possibly even over the weekend, but that'll be very few and far between. Most of it will be Monday through Thursday. And of course, they'll be staying there Sunday night, Monday night, Tuesday night, Wednesday night.
So the request is for $6,200 for the academy.
That's correct.
For 2 officers.
Yes, sir.
Are there any funds left in the training line item or not? Okay, so we need to approve the $6,200, the total amount.
Thank you so much.
All right, well,
Do they have to sign a,
Contract?
yes,
Yes.
for so many years?
That was my question.
the,
2 years, and they signed that with A-Post.
And if they leave, and just say
Yes.
they go to another agency, a lot of times
Yeah.
y'all
They have to
send
pay
that
us.
contract to the other agency and they pay us back on it, or how does that actually?
We've actually just had this happen. We had an officer leave prior to his contract being done, and the agency that hires him are required by law to replace the funds that it costs to send him to the academy.
I thought I knew that, but I wanted to make sure that everybody knew that.
It's up to it. It's optional as to what we can prorate it or we don't prorate it. I've had some that I've had to buy contracts that wouldn't prorate, and then I've had some that they did.
How long's the contract for?
2 years.
According to A-Post standards right now, it's 2 years.
Okay, I thought you held up 3 fingers and Todd said
I did
2.
hold
so
up 3 fingers, but it's about to be 3 years.
Yeah, it is going to 3 years.
when does that happen?
I'm not sure exactly when, but I know that it was discussed at our last
But the
forum.
contract does not start until they complete the academy.
So it has a chance to be a 3-year contract before
Right.
they're done.
any other questions? We need a motion to approve this training.
And who are they?
You have names, officers' names?
I'm sorry, sir.
We've been asked what the names of the officers are.
Oh, yes, sir. Michael Ricciuti. That's a really hard one to spell.
Just want to put you on the spot. Will.
Ricciuti. Michael Ricciuti, and also Preston Jacobs. Michael Ricciuti is 40 years old. He's a retired Army veteran. He's going to be a stand-up guy for sure. He's got life experience, and not only that, I think he's going to be a class act officer. He's got that type of attitude that we like. Preston Jacobs is 20 years old, and he's the kind of young man that I think that's going to make us a great officer. He comes from Opp, Alabama, and he's just all around a nice guy.
Okay. So did we get a motion? Did you get a motion?
Does this come out of the general fund?
It is general fund. Got a contingency, do you need to know that?
Yes, I do need to know.
So we need a motion to approve this as an expenditure out of contingency.
I'll make a motion.
There's a motion, is there a second?
Second.
Questions, comments? All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, same sign. That motion carries. What else do you have?
That's it, sir.
All right, thank you.
Sure. Thank you, sir.
Sheriff, we're going to ask you to give us a 10-minute recess, and then you can come back loaded for bear. We'll recess, we'll start back at roughly 20 after.
We'll run out of places to have. You're never gonna get this.
No, I'm not gonna have this ready for a long time.